I was signing adoption papers when the DNA results came back. My lawyer had the envelope. Standard manila, nothing special about it except for the weight of what was inside. We were finalizing everything, making it official, making my daughter legally mine in every way that mattered. 3 months old. Perfect. Mine. The envelope was addressed to my wife, dated 2 weeks before she'd even told me she was pregnant. My hands went numb. The pen fell, black ink on white paper, a small dot spreading like evidence. My lawyer, Patricia, 50-something, seen everything, she looked at me the way you look at someone right before their life splits into before and after. "Do you want me to leave?" she asked. I opened it. The page was clinical, cold, numbers and percentages and terminology that might as well have been a foreign language except for one line, printed in standard font like it wasn't detonating my entire existence. Probability of paternity, 0.0%, 0, not 0.01%, not unlikely, 0. Below that, smaller, sample collected November 3rd, 2024. Our daughter was born November 1st. My wife ordered this test 2 days after giving birth. 2 days after I cut the umbilical cord. 2 days after I held this tiny creature and promised her everything. Patricia didn't ask again. She just gathered her papers, squeezed my shoulder, and left me alone in that conference room with the adoption documents I no longer understood and the DNA results that made them suddenly horrifically necessary. If you've ever had a moment where everything you knew shattered in 1 second, where the floor fell out, and you realized you'd been living in a story someone else wrote, just leave "I understand" in the comments. You're not alone. I need to go back. I need you to understand what I was losing. 6 months earlier, my wife told me she was pregnant over breakfast. Not some grand reveal, just Sarah across the table, coffee getting cold, tears in her eyes. Happy tears, I thought. She'd been trying for 2 years. We'd been trying. The fertility clinic, the schedules, the disappointment month after month. And then positive. I remember kissing her. I remember calling my parents. I remember my mother-in-law, Linda, showing up that same evening with a bottle of sparkling cider and a look I couldn't quite read. At the time, I thought it was joy. "Finally," she said, hugging Sarah like she'd won something. "Finally." Linda had opinions about everything. What we should name the baby. What color the nursery should be. What prenatal vitamins Sarah should take. She'd even ordered them herself, had them shipped to our house. I thought she was just excited. Overbearing maybe, but excited. She insisted on planning our baby moon. That's what she called it. A weekend getaway, just Sarah and me, one last trip before the baby came. She'd already picked the resort, already booked it, already paid for it with her credit card because you two have enough expenses coming. I should have asked why she chose that specific resort, that specific weekend, why she was so insistent we go, even when Sarah said she was tired, even when the doctor said travel in the second trimester was fine but not necessary. But I didn't ask. I said thank you. I packed our bags. I thought my mother-in-law was being generous. Nothing was coincidence. The resort was 4 hours away, nestled in wine country, the kind of place where every room has a fireplace and a view. We arrived Friday evening. Sarah seemed nervous, distracted. She kept checking her phone, putting it face down on the nightstand, picking it up again. "Everything okay?" I asked. "Just my mom," she said. "You know how she is." I did know. Linda texted constantly, little reminders, little suggestions, little intrusions wrapped in concern, so I didn't push. That night, Sarah said she wasn't feeling well, nausea. She wanted to sleep. I went down to the hotel bar, had 1 beer, came back up. She was already asleep, or pretending to be. Saturday, we did the wine tasting, the non-alcoholic version for her. She was quiet. I was oblivious. Sunday, we drove home. Sarah slept the whole way, her head against the window. I thought pregnancy was exhausting her. I had no idea she was carrying something heavier than our child. The pregnancy continued. Sarah pulled away, not dramatically, just inches at a time. Fewer kisses, more time at her mother's house. When I asked if something was wrong, she'd say, just hormones, or just tired. And I'd nod because what did I know about pregnancy? Linda was there constantly, at every ultrasound. At the hospital when Sarah went into labor, in the delivery room when our daughter was born, crying before I even got to, holding that baby like she'd waited her whole life for this specific child. And maybe she had. I have the ultrasound photo in my wallet, black and white, grainy, this tiny blur that was somehow a person. Underneath, Sarah had written, Our Miracle, November 2024. I looked at it every day, showed everyone. This was my daughter before I ever saw her face. I didn't know I should have been looking at the calendar Linda gave us, the one she'd marked with little pink dots. I thought she was tracking Sarah's appointments. She was tracking something else entirely. When I got home from the lawyer's office, Sarah was in the nursery, rocking our daughter, singing something soft. The room smelled like baby powder and lavender, Sarah's perfume, the scent I used to associate with home. I stood in the doorway. She looked up. We need to talk, I said. She knew. I could see it in her face, the way color drained, the way her arms tightened around the baby like I might take her. Nathan, how long have you known? She didn't answer, just started crying. Not the pretty kind, the ugly, gasping kind where you can't catch your breath. I walked in, took our daughter from her arms. My daughter, I still thought, I couldn't stop thinking, and put her in the crib. She was asleep, peaceful, unaware that her entire existence was about to implode. How long, Sarah? Since before she was born, she whispered. I ordered the test right after. I needed to know. You needed to know. I wasn't yelling. I was too cold for yelling. You needed to know if the baby you were carrying was your husband's or who, Sarah, who did you fuck? She flinched. I'd never spoken to her like that. Never. It wasn't like that. It was supposed to fix us. Fix us like we were broken, like I hadn't noticed the cracks. Fix what? I asked. What exactly about our marriage needed fixing with someone else's dick? Don't. Please don't. Don't what? Don't ask questions? Don't want answers. You knew. You've known for 3 months. You let me fall in love with her. You let me sign birth certificates and set up college funds and... My voice cracked. I hated that it cracked. Sarah was sobbing into her hands now. My mom, she said, Your mom. That's when someone pounded on the door. Hard. 3 sharp knocks. Then, police. We got a call about a disturbance. Sarah and I froze. The baby stirred but didn't wake. I walked to the door, opened it to find 2 officers on my porch. Our neighbor, Mrs. Chen, was standing in her yard, arms crossed, phone in hand. Sorry to bother you folks, the older cop said. Got a report of shouting. Everything okay? We're fine, I said. My voice was steady, flat. Just a disagreement. He looked past me at Sarah, red-faced, tear-stained. Ma'am, you okay? She nodded. We're fine. I'm sorry. We didn't mean to disturb anyone. The cops left. Mrs. Chen went inside. Sarah and I stood there in the sudden silence, the space between us wider than the room. Your mom, what? I said. She kept saying it was supposed to fix us. Fix what? I never knew we were broken. The next morning, while Sarah was at her mother's, of course she went to her mother's, I started looking. I'm not a detective. I'm an accountant. But numbers tell stories if you know how to read them. Credit card statements. Sarah had a separate card, one her mother gave her for emergencies. I'd never questioned it. Why would I? We were married. We trusted each other. Past tense. I pulled up the statements online. Most of it was normal. Target, grocery store, gas, then a hotel charge, 4 hours away, wine country. The dates matched our baby moon, but this charge was from 3 days before we went. Room 304. One night, registered under Sarah's name. She'd been there without me. I called the hotel. told them I needed to confirm a reservation, gave them the date and room number. The woman on the phone was helpful, efficient. Yes, sir, we show a one-night stay. Checked in Friday, checked out Saturday morning. Is there a problem? No problem, I said. Can you tell me, was it just one guest? A pause. The click of keys. Our records show 2 adults. I thanked her, hung up, sat there staring at the computer screen. 2 adults, Sarah and someone else. 3 days before we went for our baby moon. She'd already been there, with him, whoever he was. I kept digging. Fertility clinic records. I had access to the patient portal joint account. I pulled up Sarah's appointments. Most I'd gone to, some I hadn't. Work, I'd said, meetings. She'd said it was fine, her mom would drive her. There was one appointment I didn't remember. Late July, right around conception. The note said, patient attended alone. Discussed ovulation tracking. Provided calendar for optimal timing. They gave her a calendar for optimal timing. I found it. In her nightstand drawer, under a stack of magazines. Not the pretty decorative calendar Linda had given us. This was clinical, medical, dates circled in red pen, July 28th, July 29th, July 30th, little notes in the margins, peak window, high fertility, and at the bottom of July 29th, in different handwriting, not Sarah's, not mine, a child needs the right foundation. Linda's handwriting. I'd seen it 1,000 times on birthday cards and grocery lists and passive-aggressive notes left on our counter. My mother-in-law had circled the days my wife was most fertile and written a justification for what was about to happen. The hotel reservation was made from my mother-in-law's email account. She used her credit card. I found the confirmation email. She'd forwarded it to Sarah with a single line. Everything's arranged. You know this is what's best. This wasn't an affair. This was a project. I should have confronted them immediately. Linda, Sarah demanded answers, made a scene, but I didn't. Because at 3 a.m. that night, my daughter woke up crying. Sarah was still at her mother's. I was alone in the house with this 3-month-old who didn't know about DNA tests or betrayal or the fact that half her genetic code came from a man I'd never met. She just knew that when she cried, someone came. So I went. The nursery was dark, except for the nightlight, this little turtle that projected stars on the ceiling. I'd picked it out, spent 20 minutes in the baby store debating between the turtle and the elephant. The turtle won because Sarah said it reminded her of Finding Nemo, and I'd do anything to make her smile back then. I lifted my daughter out of the crib. She was warm, solid, real. 7 pounds at birth, 9 pounds now, this tiny growing thing who fit perfectly in my arms. The bottle was already prepped in the fridge. Formula. It smelled like vanilla and iron. I warmed it under hot water, tested the temperature on my wrists like they'd shown us in the parenting class. Perfect. She latched on immediately. Her eyes opened, dark blue. Everyone said they'd change color eventually. And she looked at me. Just looked. Like I was her whole world, because to her, I was. Her tiny hand gripped my finger. The hospital bracelet was in my pocket. I'd kept it, this little piece of plastic with her footprints and her name and the date she became mine. November 1st, 2024. Girl 7 LBS 3 Oz. Mother Sarah Winters. Father Nathan Winters. Father. The pediatrician said I was good at this. At the 2-week checkup, while Sarah was filling out paperwork, Dr. Martinez had watched me change a diaper and said, "You're a natural." I'd beamed, sent a photo to my parents. Look at me, I'm a dad, I'm good at this. I was good at it. I came every time she cried. I knew the difference between her hungry cry and her tired cry, and her something's wrong cry. I knew she liked being bounced more than rocked. I knew she hated having her face wiped, but tolerated it if I sang. She doesn't know I'm not her biological father. She doesn't care about DNA tests or betrayal. She just knows that when she cries at 3 a.m., I come. Every time. The bottle was empty. I lifted her to my shoulder, patted her back until she burped, a tiny, dignified sound that made me smile despite everything. I put her back in the crib. She was already asleep, one fist curled near her face. I stood there for a long time, watching her breathe. She has his eyes, but she knows my heartbeat. Is that enough? 3 days later, I got a phone call from a number I didn't recognize. Is this Nathan Winters? Yes. My name is Marcus Webb. A long pause. I think we need to talk about Sarah. I met him at a coffee shop downtown, neutral territory, public. I didn't know what to expect. A cocky asshole? A knowing accomplice? Someone who'd laugh about the husband who never saw it coming? Marcus Webb was none of those things. He was 32, software engineer, neat haircut, nervous hands, the kind of guy who'd hold the door for you and apologize for existing. He had a folder with him. Manila, like the one with my DNA results. I don't know how to start this, he said. Try the beginning. He opened the folder, pulled out his own DNA test. Probability of paternity, 99.97%. I got this 2 weeks ago, he said. I didn't understand why. I don't have a kid. He stopped, started over. I met a woman in July, Linda. She said she was a matchmaker, freelance, helping young professionals meet. I just moved here, didn't know anyone. She showed me a photo of her daughter. Recent divorce, she said, looking for someone stable. He slid the photo across. It was Sarah. From 3 years ago, before we got married, hair different, smile wide. She said her name was Sarah Mitchell, said she was 29, worked in marketing, loved hiking. We met at a wine country resort. Linda, the matchmaker, had arranged everything, paid for the room, said it was part of the service, a romantic first date. I felt cold. Wine country. Yeah, this beautiful place, fireplace in the room, bottle of champagne. She was nervous but sweet. We talked for hours. She said she was ready to start over, find someone who'd treat her right. He stopped, looked away. It was one night. She left the next morning, said she'd call. Did she? No, I tried calling her. The number was disconnected. I thought I'd been ghosted. It hurt, but it happens. I moved on. He pulled out more papers, texts between him and Linda. Then last month, Linda texted me, said congratulations, said Sarah had my baby, sent me a birth announcement. He slid it across. There was my daughter's name, her birth date, her weight, a photo I'd taken in the hospital. I didn't believe it, Marcus said. I thought it was a scam, but I took a DNA test anyway, used one of those ancestry sites. The results came back and his voice cracked. I have a daughter, and I didn't even know she was married. My mother-in-law told him my wife was her divorced daughter. We sat there in that coffee shop, two men staring at DNA tests, both of us victims of the same woman's manipulation. I'm not here to take anything, Marcus said. I needed you to know I didn't know. About you, about any of this. What do you want? I asked. I don't know. He looked lost. Young. Do I have a daughter, legally, morally? I didn't sign anything. I didn't know. But she's mine, biologically. And I don't know what that means. I thought about 3 a.m. feedings, about the turtle nightlight and the hospital bracelet, and the way my daughter gripped my finger like I was her anchor. Biologically isn't the same as actually, I said. I know. He pushed the folder toward me. Keep these. You'll need them for whatever comes next. He left. I sat there with his evidence and mine, watching strangers order coffee and live normal lives where mother-in-laws didn't orchestrate pregnancies like military campaigns. He didn't even know she was married. My mother-in-law told him my wife was her divorced daughter. That night, I went to Linda's house. Sarah answered the door. Her eyes were red. She'd been crying for 3 days straight from the looks of it. Nathan, I'm not here for you. I'm here for your mother. Linda appeared behind her, 63 years old, yoga-toned, perfect silver hair, the kind of woman who intimidates waiters and returns items without receipts. She was wearing cream-colored cashmere, no apology in her eyes. "Nathan, come in." Her living room looked like a magazine spread. Everything coordinated, everything controlled. Sarah's father, Tom, was there too, sitting in the corner like a piece of furniture. He hadn't said a word in our entire marriage. I was starting to understand why. "You set this up," I said. "I did what was necessary." Linda's voice was calm, matter of fact, like we were discussing grocery lists. "Necessary. You were never right for Sarah." She walked to a bookshelf, pulled down a frame. "This is Daniel, Sarah's ex-boyfriend, pre-med, good family, good bloodline. He would have been perfect." The frame held a photo of Sarah at 25, arm around a guy who looked like he summered in Martha's Vineyard. Linda kept a shrine to her daughter's ex-boyfriend. "Sarah chose me," I said. "Sarah made a mistake." Linda set the frame down. "You're adequate, Nathan. Good job. Decent family. But adequate isn't enough for grandchildren. I needed insurance." "Insurance?" "Marcus has better genetics. Taller. Better bone structure. His family has no history of mental illness or addiction. His grandfather was a Rhodes Scholar. When Sarah couldn't get pregnant with you, I knew it was a sign." "We were trying for 2 years. Yes, and it wasn't working, so I fixed it." She said it like she'd repaired a leaky faucet. Sarah was crying silently on the couch. Tom stared at his hands. I felt like I was in a horror movie where everyone was insane except me. "You tracked her ovulation," I said. "Of course. The fertility clinic gave her a calendar. I simply optimized it." "You paid for a hotel room. You found a man. You told him she was divorced." "I told him what he needed to hear, and I told Sarah what she needed to hear." Linda pulled out another frame. This one wasn't a photo. It was a family tree. Hand-drawn, calligraphed, beautiful, and insane. My name was on it, crossed out in red ink. Above it, in fresh black ink, Marcus Webb. "I made this before Sarah even went to the resort," Linda said. I knew. I always knew. A child needs the right foundation." The family tree was dated July 15th, 2024, 2 weeks before Sarah slept with Marcus. She called it correcting a mistake. I was the mistake. The baby was supposed to be her do-over. "You're a psychopath," I said. "I'm a grandmother who wanted what's best." "For who? Not for Sarah, not for me. Not for that baby upstairs who doesn't know her entire existence is your science experiment. That baby has superior genetics now. You should be grateful." "Grateful? Yes. You get to raise a child better than anything you could have produced. You're welcome." Here's the question. Should he prioritize the innocent child or walk away from the betrayal? Type 1 if you'd stay for the child. Type 2 if you'd leave. There's no wrong answer, just your truth. Tom finally spoke. First time I'd heard his voice in months. "Linda, stop." She whirled on him. "You don't get to..." "I'm done." He stood, looked at me. "I didn't know. Not until after. I'm sorry." He walked out, just left. 35 years of marriage, and he walked out of his own house. Linda stood there for the first time in her life, speechless. I looked at Sarah. "Did you know? Before you went to that hotel?" She nodded, barely. "Your mother convinced her I'd leave anyway. Self-fulfilling prophecy." The next morning, I met with a lawyer. Not Patricia, someone who specialized in family law. Her name was Jennifer Chen, no relation to my nosy neighbor, and she'd seen everything. "This is complex," she said, reviewing the evidence. DNA tests, hotel receipts, Linda's family tree, Marcus's testimony. In our state, if you're married when the child is born, you're legally the father, even if biology says otherwise. What does that mean? It means you have rights. You're on the birth certificate. You've been acting as her father. Even if Sarah files for divorce, you'd have a strong custody case. And Marcus? He could petition for paternity rights, but it's unlikely to succeed. He didn't know she was married. No evidence of an ongoing relationship, no financial support. Courts favor established bonds. She looked at me over her reading glasses, and the question is, what do you want? What did I want? I wanted to not be in this situation. I wanted my wife to have been faithful. I wanted my mother-in-law to be normal. I wanted my daughter to actually be mine, but she was mine. Every way that mattered except biology. I want my daughter, I said. Then we fight for her. Sarah's therapist called me, Dr. Reese, a woman Sarah had been seeing for 2 months. I didn't know she was in therapy. Add it to the list of things I didn't know. Nathan, Sarah signed a release for me to speak with you. I think you should come in. We sat in her office, me, Sarah, Dr. Reese with her clipboard and her concerned face. Sarah wants to explain, Dr. Reese said gently. Sarah had a journal, leather-bound. She'd been writing in it since July. Can I read from it? She asked. I nodded. She opened to a page dated July 24th, 2024, her handwriting shaky. Mom says Nathan's gonna leave me anyway, says I'm not enough, says we're not getting pregnant because something's wrong with us, with me, and he'll find someone who works better. She has a plan. She says it's the only way to save my marriage. Have a baby that's genetically better. He'll never know, no one will know, and I'll finally be enough. Sarah's voice broke. Dr. Reese handed her a tissue, another entry. July 28th. I met him, Marcus. He's nice, kind. Mom says he's temporary, just biology. Nathan's still my husband. This is just insurance, but it feels wrong. It feels so wrong. July 29th. I did it. I can't take it back. Marcus left this morning. I threw up in the bathroom. Not morning sickness, just guilt. Mom says it'll pass. Says when I'm holding a healthy baby, I'll understand. But what if Nathan finds out? What if this destroys us? She kept reading. Entries through the pregnancy, the fear, the guilt, the hope that maybe her mother was right. Maybe this was saving things. Maybe Nathan would never know and they'd be a happy family. November 3rd, 2 days after our daughter was born. I ordered a DNA test. I have to know. I'm holding her and I don't know if she's my husband's or a stranger's. What have I done? What did I let my mother make me do? She closed the journal, looked at me. I'm not asking you to forgive me, Sarah said. I'm asking you to understand. I was drowning. My mother has been in my head my whole life, telling me I'm not good enough. And when we couldn't get pregnant, she said it was proof, that I needed to fix it before you realized. I never said you weren't enough. I know, but she did. Every day, every visit, every phone call, and I believed her. Her mother convinced her I'd leave anyway. Self-fulfilling prophecy, but it didn't excuse it. Understanding isn't the same as forgiving. 4 months after the DNA results, my daughter said her first word. I have it on video. Sarah was at work. I was on the floor with a pile of board books and these chunky plastic blocks that were supposed to be educational. My daughter, Lily, we named her Lily Rose, was sitting up now, wobbly but determined. She grabbed a block, chewed on it, dropped it, looked at me. Dada. I thought I imagined it. Dada. Clear, definite, looking right at me. I grabbed my phone, hit record. Dada, dada, dada. She smiled, this huge, gummy, proud of herself smile. Her first word was dada. She was looking at me, not him, me. I played it back 17 times. Each time she said dada, she smiled at the camera, at me, like I was her whole world, because to her, I was. If you've ever loved someone who wasn't biologically yours, adopted, step-parent, foster, found family, drop a heart. Let's redefine what real family means. Marcus came back a week later, asked to meet, same coffee shop. He looked different, tired. He'd been doing research, he said, reading about parenting and custody and what fathers actually meant. I can't do this, he said. Can't do what? Fight you for her. I've been thinking about it nonstop. I could petition for visitation. I could push for partial custody. I have legal standing. He pulled out a letter, handwritten, sealed in an envelope. But I'm not going to. Why not? Because you're her dad. I'm just DNA. She doesn't know me. She knows you. You're the one who gets up at 3 a.m. You're the one who knows how she likes to be held. Her first word was Dada, and she was looking at you. He slid the letter across. This is for Lily, for when she's older, when she asks. I wrote down everything, who I am, what happened, why I'm not in her life. His eyes were wet. I'm not abandoning her. I'm giving her to the father she already has. He stood, extended his hand. You're her dad, Marcus said. I'm just the biology. Don't punish her for what they did. I shook his hand, took the letter, watched him walk away. This man who gave me the gift of stepping back. Not every man would. The letter is in a safe deposit box now. When Lily asks, and someday she will, she'll have truth and grace. She'll know Marcus didn't abandon her. He chose her by choosing me. You're her dad. I'm just DNA. Don't punish her for what they did. Sarah filed for divorce in February. I didn't contest it. Our marriage had been a corpse for months. We were just arguing over who'd dig the grave. But when her lawyer sent over the proposed custody arrangement, I understood why she'd waited. Primary physical custody to mother. Father granted supervised visitation every other weekend, supervised, like I was a danger, like I hadn't been the one raising Lily while Sarah spiraled. My lawyer, Jennifer, read it and laughed. Not a happy laugh. They're insulting my intelligence laugh. They're going to regret this, she said. The custody hearing was scheduled for March 15th. 6 weeks to build a case for why a man with no biological connection to a child should be considered her primary parent. I documented everything. Every 3 a.m. feeding, every pediatrician appointment, every milestone. I had videos of Lily's first laugh, first solid food, first time she rolled over. In every single one, I was the voice behind the camera. Jennifer subpoenaed Sarah's therapy records, bank statements, phone records. We built a timeline of her involvement versus mine. The numbers didn't lie. I'd taken Lily to 94% of her appointments. I'd done 87% of nighttime wake-ups. I'd used 73% of my PTO for pediatrician visits, while Sarah used hers for her mother's planned trips. We're not arguing biology, Jennifer said. We're arguing bond. We're arguing who's actually been the parent. March 15th arrived cold and gray. The courthouse smelled like floor wax and anxiety. Sarah was there with her lawyer. Some hotshot her mother had paid for. Linda was there too, sitting behind Sarah like a puppet master in Chanel. The judge was a woman in her 60s named Margaret Holbrook. She'd been on the bench for 20 years, seen everything, believed nothing until proven. Sarah's lawyer went first, painted a picture of a devoted mother, a stable home with extended family support, the importance of a child being with her biological parent. Ms. Winters has family nearby, he said. A support system. Her mother has been instrumental. Her mother, Jennifer interrupted, orchestrated an affair to produce this child. Let's be clear about what kind of support system we're discussing. The judge raised an eyebrow. Continue. Jennifer presented everything, the hotel receipts, Linda's calendar with circled ovulation dates, Marcus's testimony he'd agreed to provide a sworn affidavit, the family tree with my name crossed out, dated before conception. This wasn't an affair, Jennifer said. This was a planned deception orchestrated by the maternal grandmother to produce a child with what she deemed superior genetics. Mr. Winters was kept in the dark. The biological father was kept in the dark. The only person who knew the full truth was Linda Hartman, Ms. Winters' mother. Sarah's lawyer objected. The judge overruled. Linda sat perfectly still in the gallery, but I saw her jaw tighten. Ms. Winters was complicit, her lawyer argued, but she was also a victim of her mother's manipulation. She's sought therapy. She's making amends. She's seeking primary custody of a child who barely knows her, Jennifer said. Your Honor, we're not disputing Miss Winters' parental rights. We're asking the court to recognize that Mr. Winters has been this child's primary caregiver since birth. Biology doesn't erase that. The judge looked at the evidence, looked at me, looked at Sarah. In our state, if you're married when the child is born, you're legally the father, even if biology says otherwise. Then she did something unexpected. She asked to see Lily. They brought her in. 10 months old now, chubby-cheeked, curious, wearing the yellow dress I'd picked out that morning. Sarah's mother had bought her a closet full of designer baby clothes. Lily preferred the soft cotton ones I got from Target. The court-appointed advocate held her. Lily looked around the courtroom, overwhelmed by the fluorescent lights and strange faces. Then she saw me. "Dada!" She reached out both arms, lunged toward me. The advocate almost dropped her. "It's okay," the judge said quietly. "Let him take her." I stood, crossed the courtroom, took my daughter. She immediately buried her face in my neck, her little fists grabbing my collar. The judge asked, "Who do you want to live with?" Lily looked up, pointed at me. "Dada." She reached for me. Sarah started crying, not manipulative tears, real, broken, devastated tears. Because even she could see what the judge saw. Lily knew who her parent was. The judge took a recess, came back 30 minutes later. "I'm awarding joint legal custody," she said. "Physical custody will be split 50-50, alternating weeks. Both parents will have equal decision-making authority regarding education, healthcare, and welfare." A draw. Not perfect, but better than supervised visits. "However," Judge Holbrook continued, looking directly at Linda, "I'm granting Mr. Winters' motion for a restraining order against Linda Hartman. Mrs. Hartman is prohibited from contact with the minor child until further order of this court." Linda stood up. "You can't." "I can, and I have. This court finds that Mrs. Hartman engaged in deliberate deception and manipulation that directly harmed this family. Until she completes a psychiatric evaluation and co-parenting classes, she will have no access to her granddaughter. Bailiff, Mrs. Hartman needs to be escorted out." Linda's face went purple. She started yelling about her rights, about how ungrateful we all were, about how she'd done everything for her family. Security removed her. Sarah sat there watching her mother get escorted out, and I saw something break in her, something that maybe needed to break. The judge said, "Fatherhood is a verb, not a noun." Outside the courthouse, Sarah caught up to me. "Nathan, wait!" I stopped. Lily was asleep against my shoulder. It was nap time. "I'm sorry," Sarah said. "I know that's not enough. I know it doesn't fix anything, but I'm sorry." "For what part? Sleeping with Marcus? Letting your mother manipulate you? Lying for 10 months? Trying to take Lily away from me?" "All of it." She reached out like she might touch Lily's head, then stopped herself. Can I ask you something?" "What?" "Why are you fighting so hard for her? You could walk away. You have every right to walk away. Biology isn't even on your side. Why?" I looked at Lily. Her little mouth was open in sleep, drool on my shirt. She smelled like baby shampoo and graham crackers. "Because she's mine," I said, and she was mine the moment I held her. She was mine when I signed the birth certificate. She was mine every night at 3 a.m. when you were at your mother's house. Biology doesn't make you a father. Showing up does. Choosing her every single day. That's what makes me her dad. "I know," Sarah whispered. "I see it. I wish I'd seen it before." "Me too." I walked away. Lily stirred, but didn't wake. She felt safe. That's all that mattered. If the law says I'm the father, maybe I don't need biology's permission. The fallout from the court case was swift and brutal, at least for Linda. Sarah's father, Tom, filed for divorce. After 35 years, he moved into an apartment, started going to therapy, told anyone who'd listen that he should have stood up to his wife decades ago. Sarah's siblings, she has a brother and a sister, cut contact with Linda. The family group chat that had been active for years went silent, then reformed, without Linda in it. Someone I don't know who posted about the court case on a local Facebook group. Not the details, just enough. Local grandmother orchestrated affair to get better grandchild. It spread. Screenshots. Shares. Linda's yoga studio friends distanced themselves. Her book club asked her not to return. The church she'd attended for 30 years suggested she take time to reflect. She lost her daughter, her granddaughter, her reputation. She still thinks she did nothing wrong. I know this because she sent me an email, 3 pages long. Not an apology, a justification. How she'd only wanted what was best. How I should be grateful. How someday I'd understand. How Lily had superior genetics thanks to her. My lawyer sent a cease and desist. Linda sent back another email, shorter this time. You're not good enough for my daughter. You never were. But at least you're raising a child who's better than anything you could have made. I was always good enough for her. I didn't respond. I blocked her email. Filed the messages with the court in case she violated the restraining order. And I moved on. Some people don't deserve your anger. They deserve your absence. Marcus checked in occasionally. Emails every few months. How's she doing? Did she start walking? What's her favorite food? I sent updates, photos, videos of milestones. He never asked to meet her, never pushed. Just watched from a distance like a guardian angel who knew his presence would complicate things. Last month he sent a check, $5,000. The memo line said, college fund. I deposited it into Lily's 529 plan, sent him the receipt. He wrote back, thank you for letting me be part of her life this way. He gave me the gift of stepping back. Not every man would. Lily turned 2 in November. We had a small party, just me, my parents, Sarah. Things were civil now. Co-parenting was functional, if not warm. And my friend David, who'd been there through everything. No Linda. She'd sent a card. Boundary violation, technically, but I didn't report it. The card said, happy birthday to my granddaughter. I'll always love you even if they keep me away. I threw it out. Lily had a cake shaped like a turtle. Remember the nightlight? Still her favorite. She dove into it face first, got frosting everywhere, laughed like it was the best day of her life. My mother took a photo of us, me and Lily, both covered in blue frosting, both grinning. She printed it, put it in a frame, gave it to me. For your mantle, she said, real family. I put it up that night. Next to it, I hung something else, the ultrasound photo, the grainy black and white image from before Lily was born, before DNA tests and betrayals and court cases, just a blur that would become a person. I kept it because it still mattered, not because of biology, because that was when I first loved her. The drawing Lily made, well, made is generous. She's 2. It scribbles. Blue crayon on white paper, chaotic and perfect. She handed it to me and said, Dada, you. I told her it was beautiful. Put it on the fridge with a magnet. My parents saw it and laughed. It looked like a tornado had a child with a blueberry. But to Lily, it was art. It was love. Every day she adds something, more scribbles. She started using other colors now, green, red, yellow. The fridge is covered, a gallery of her growing up. Last week she drew something that might have been 2 stick figures, or 2 trees, or 2 worms. Hard to say. Who's that? I asked. She pointed. Dada, Lily. My family. I took a photo of it, sent it to Marcus. He wrote back, she's lucky to have you. No, I'm lucky to have her. Quick poll, was the mother-in-law trying to help, misguided, or deliberately manipulative? Let us know what you think in the comments. It's been a year since the DNA results. A year since my life imploded and rebuilt itself into something I didn't expect, but somehow needed. Sarah's getting better. Therapy is helping. She sees Lily regularly, loves her fiercely, but she understands now that being a mother takes more than biology. It takes showing up. She's learning to show up. Tom, Sarah's father, my former father-in-law, comes by sometimes. Takes Lily to the park. He's quieter without Linda, but happier. He said to me once, I should have protected Sarah from her mother. I failed at that. but maybe I can be the grandfather Lily deserves. I told him we all get second chances, even him. David, my friend who watched me fall apart and helped put the pieces back together, introduced me to his sister, Rachel, last month. We went for coffee. It was nice, easy, no pressure. She knows my story. David told her, asked if that was okay. She said yes. So you're a single dad with an interesting custody situation, she said. That's one way to put it. I think it's brave, she said, what you did, fighting for her. I didn't have a choice. You did. You chose love over bitterness. That's always a choice. We're taking it slow. Lily comes first. Always. But it's nice to remember that my story isn't over. That betrayal doesn't have to be the end. This is your space now. Share your story of found family, the people who chose you, not just biology. We read every single comment. You matter here. Last night, Lily had a nightmare. She woke up crying, calling for me. I went to her room. We're in a new house now, fresh start. Her room is painted yellow like sunshine, and picked her up. Bad dream, she said. Her vocabulary is expanding. 50 words now, full sentences coming soon. I know, baby, it's okay. Daddy's here. Stay? Always. I laid down next to her toddler bed. She curled against me, one hand on my face. Within minutes, she was asleep again, peaceful, safe. I stayed anyway, watched her breathe. Memorized this moment. She'll grow up with questions. Who's Marcus? Why don't I see Grandma Linda? Why don't I look like Daddy? The answers are complicated, but they're also simple. Family isn't who made you. It's who stays. This morning, Lily asked about the ultrasound photo on the wall, the one where she's just a blur in black and white before the world got complicated. What's that? She asked, pointing. That's you, I said. Before you were born. Before me? Before I met you. You loved me? I knelt down, eye level. I loved you before I even knew who you'd be. She smiled, kissed my cheek with sticky toddler lips. She'd been eating strawberries. Then she ran off to play with her blocks, the moment already forgotten in the way kids forget things that adults carry forever. But I'll remember standing in that courthouse, DNA test in hand, realizing that the numbers didn't matter. I'll remember Marcus walking away to give her a better life. I'll remember the judge saying fatherhood is a verb. I'll remember every 3 a.m. feeding, every first word, every scribbled drawing, every nightmare I chased away. Biology doesn't make you a father. Showing up does. Choosing her every single day, that's what makes me her dad. A year later, I look at that ultrasound photo, the one I almost threw away, the one that represents everything that went wrong and everything that went right. And I understand something I didn't understand before. She was always mine. From the moment that grainy black and white image appeared on the screen, from the moment Sarah said, "We're pregnant," and my heart exploded with hope, from the moment I felt her kick through Sarah's belly, from the moment I cut the umbilical cord and held this tiny, screaming, perfect creature. Biology gave her life, but I gave her love. And in the end, that's the only thing that matters. We don't leave. Not when they're ours. Not when we chose them. And she was always mine.